Good evening. In our news bulletin for tonight, Niue celebrated 42 years of self-government. The Iglesia Cristiana Niue held festivities in Mutalo marking 170 years since the gospel was introduced in Niue. The inaugural Ukulele Festival proved to be a hit with the collaboration of local and international musicians. The Mutalo community came together to celebrate 40 years since they started their show day. Niue celebrated 42 years since self-government with festivities that spanned over the course of a week, with the main event being the national flag-raising ceremony held at the Whalefono on Wednesday afternoon. The program this year was organized by the Niue Tourism Office following the usual formalities, with the arrival of the Speaker of the Niue House of Assembly to greet the guests who had accepted the open invitation extended to mark a significant part in Niue's history. The Japanese ambassador to New Zealand was the only overseas dignitary who joined in this year's celebrations. The New Zealand flag was hoisted, first accompanied by both the Maori and English versions of the anthem, before Niue's flag was raised, symbolizing the close connection between the two countries. The president of the Iglesia Cristiana Niue proceeded with words from the gospel before the leader of our country, Premier Toke Talangi, addressed the nation. Premier Toke Talangi formally announced during his speech an expected increase to the elderly folks' pension of approximately $30, and a newly branded beer was also launched, aptly named Kalanga. This year there were many visiting groups of Niueans that joined in the formalities due to a number of milestones and activities that coincided with the Constitution celebrations. Following the formal program, there was entertainment from the Niue primary students and their ukuleles, songs and dances from some of the Niue high school students, and even a few items from the Niue RSA group who toured Europe earlier this year. Refreshments and drinks were also provided for those who made the time to be part of the official flag-raising ceremony celebrating Niue's self-government status. The Niue Waka Association also held their traditional waka races and continued to build momentum as they encouraged more young people to get out on the water in one of the 4 categories that was set out: the open men's, open women's, high school boys and high school girls. The open men's champion for 2016 went to Darren Mangatungia. The open women's champion title went to Maika Fuhiniu. Niue high school boys champion Brettrick Vakanufisi and Janelle Totapu was the Niue high school girls champion. A new event this year was the 6-man outrigger canoe, and that put paddlers through their paces with the very first race between the Minister for Natural Resources hand-selected team versus the New Zealand High Commissioner's team. It was a rather tight race, but the New Zealand team crossed the line first, winning this year's challenge. The second race was between Tafisi from the south and Motu from the north, and that went to Team Tafisi, who claimed the race and bragging rights for this year. The National Youth Council also held their annual raft races on Thursday morning, and 5 groups managed to construct rafts from local resources. Following what was a rather intense race, it was the team from Avasele who came out on top. Second placing went to Tuapa, and third went to Mutalo. The events open up an opportunity for youth to take part in swimming and competitions, as well as the 6-man outrigger canoe for a bit of a test paddle for some. Yesterday, Niue celebrated 170 years since the gospel was introduced to the island. As a Christian nation, Ahomama marks a significant part of Niue's history and is dedicated to those who introduced the gospel. This year's celebrations were returned to the village of Mutalo, where it all began in 1846, when Nukai Pinyamina and Toimata crossed the threshold at Uluvehi and were escorted to the fort at Fupiu. At this location, they were guarded by 61 village warriors, and that was the beginning of the introduction of the gospel to Niue. Normally, the Iglesia Cristiana Niue would host the service at their headquarters in Alofi, but this year it was held in Mutalo. On Monday morning, the Niue Ecclesia Boys and Girls Brigade began the day with a march past through the village green towards the church. There were a lot of people who gathered to witness and participate in the festivities with families and friends who have also traveled from overseas just for this occasion. There was an opening for a new plaque containing the names of all the past and present reverends and elders' names who served within the village. A large feast was also prepared by the people of Mutalo for everyone that attended on the day. The first reading of the offerings that were collected during the church service totaled $143,000. This was later confirmed after the feast to have reached $153,000. And according to the Assistant Treasurer for the Ecclesia Niue, this is the biggest total that has ever been tallied. In addition to the program, there was a launch of a book that had been compiled by key people within the village as a documentation of the history of Hakemayanga Hemamim Dalo. The day ended with entertainment from groups from overseas as well as those from within the village. The township of Alofi was inundated with the beautiful melodies of ukuleles on Friday evening as locals and visitors packed the commercial centre on Friday for the inaugural Niue Ukulele Festival. The opening at the commercial centre was packed with an impressive line of local artists, starting with the children from the Niue Primary School, Niue High School showing their skills. The event that was organised by Niue Tourism from the 21st of October to the 25th of October proved to be an amazing musical fiesta of thoughts, showcasing some hidden local talents, complemented by a number of international artists from Hawaii, Samoa, Cook Islands and New Zealand. The Ukulele Festival had the island in the festive mode, and the audience was mesmerized by the talent and versatility of those who have mastered what appears to be a relatively simple instrument, but there were different styles and techniques. Many workshops were also held over the weekend for those who were keen to learn some of the basics and different techniques of playing the ukulele. A number of international artists were also brought in for the festival. The festival has been about music, connections and even culture, something that the Samoan duo Ben Vai and Matt Omalatai have been eager to share with those who have been to some of the workshops while they've been here.
The Ingi Samoa, that's the sound like this. There's a story behind it. Mac's father, the late Shakila Pana, before there was musical instruments, we used to sing our songs, and it would describe what we do in our culture. So when we first meet people, we have the ava or the kava ceremony. So the Ingi Samoa describes, if you see the girls dance, they do the mix. So they're mixing the kava, they're throwing away of the leftover of after the mix, and they throw it to the lea in the back, the young non-matai young men, and then the action of the serving. So it's all the action of our welcoming to our guests is described in the Ingi Samoa. So it's the introduction, and also it's the introduction to a song, the Ingi Samoa. Oh, the first day at the commercial center, when I seen the children playing the ukulele, that's the future. That's the future of your people, and for them to play basic chords, and they were playing wonderful sharp chords and sevens in the end of their recital. That was one of the highlights for me.
Yes, same here. I was impressed when we sit down, watching all these kids, over 30 of them all together, so young, strumming the same way, playing music, because I felt that was the main reason we came here for, to share our music, and for us to learn how much music is going on in Niue so far with the ukulele. And I think that was the most important thing that I've that really I really enjoyed seeing. And besides the other good stuff, but musically with the ukulele, that was wonderful, amazing.
For young ukulele stars Honoka and Azita, they traveled all the way from Hawaii with their manager Jody Kamisato for what has been a special experience, taking their love for the ukulele and sharing that with others.
And what's really special about this festival is that it can bring people from all over the world together, especially around the Pacific. So we had people from Cook Islands, Samoa, New Zealand, and then seeing the Niue community come together was just really inspiring, very humbling.
Being here for a week, it's just been an amazing time. We've enjoyed all the clear waters in the ocean, because we don't really have that in Hawaii. It's clear, but not as clear as here in Niue. The food, the people, the culture, the music, everything, the language has been an eye-opening experience for us.
As soon as we got to the airport, we were greeted with leis, and I was just like, oh, this is going to be a good trip. And then, yeah, everyone just has that aloha spirit, you know. We're definitely going to take that back to Hawaii.
So we started when we were very young. She started when she was 4, and I started when I was 8. So I think when living in Hawaii, the ukulele is kind of around. Aunties and uncles play it at parties and at schools. So, and as a young kid, ukulele is kind of small and fun and easy to play. So that's, I think, how we first started to play the ukulele. My favorite part was just connecting with the people one-on-one, especially like watching the primary school kids and the high school kids perform, because in Hawaii, ukulele is not taught in schools anymore because funding, so they would have to cut like music, culture, and like physical education, so PE. But so coming here and seeing how great the kids can play and how much they actually enjoy it, it was really inspiring, and yeah, that was one of the highlights for the festival.
I just love to see all the different styles, you know. The style here is really like fast, and you don't really get much of that in Hawaii, so it's cool to experience a different culture.
The variety and differences in styles has also been apparent throughout the festival, especially with a range of international artists that accepted the invitation to come, like Paul Johnson, who comes from New Zealand with a slightly different instrument and technique.
And I've studied folk music since I was a little boy. I got a guitar when I was 8 years old. I ukulele first, but I wanted a guitar. And I learned to play the ukulele, so my dad gave me a guitar in a week. And then I played guitar all my life. And 3.5 years ago, I got another ukulele and transposed everything I had from my guitar to my ukulele. And now I play quite differently, because what you play on a guitar is quite different from what people play on a ukulele. So I just moved all my stuff over, and I feature lovely little instruments like this because they're different and they play the style of music I play, which is blues, boogie, and ragtime. My favorite part of Niue is waving to everybody in the car. And I found out there's 3 different waves. We've got a finger wave and a hand wave and a flick wave out the door. And it was tremendous. It took me a little while when I came first to start waving, because I'm not used to waving and driving so slow. I mean, it's just a part of it's really fun. I said to people last night, we had a Q&A, a question and answer with all the artists and the people in the festival. And they said, what was the best part of being in Niue? And I said, that wave. I said, but when I go home, I'm going to get it out of the Auckland airport. I'm going to wind my window down, hang my arm out, and everybody I pass, I'm going to wave and drive 25 miles an hour.
The Niue Ukulele Festival would not be complete without some of Niue's very own musicians returning and giving back to the next generation.
I feel so proud to be a Niuean person representing all of the locals that are here in Niue, who are musicians and entertainers, to be able to share and be on stage amongst all these other international acts, such as people from Hawaii, people from Samoa, so it's so nice. It's actually really, really good to be here, celebrating music, for our people. I think one of the biggest highlights for me personally, on a personal note, is bringing my daughter here with me to share this whole experience and show her our home country, Niue Island. And it's been nice to share with her things like, having a look at what a unga looks like in face-to-face, our coconuts, our taro as well, koi homhaya, and I'm really grateful.
The Ukulele Festival ended on a high note with a gala dinner and concert at Matavai last night that featured all the international artists and brought in especially for the festival. They departed the island on the flight this afternoon. That concludes our news bulletin for this evening. We do hope you can join us for our next news bulletin on Thursday.